Welcome back to the Chapter 1 test review, and these will be questions 5 through 10, and they're based on the following most important concept in the whole class, which is that assets must always equal liabilities plus owner's equity. And there's lots of ways to say this. And so let's take a look at these questions. Question 5. If assets are $130,000 and liabilities are $92,000, then owner's equity equals, well, put your accounting equation on there, fill in what you know. You know that assets are 130, liabilities are 92, so therefore owner's equity would be the difference between these two, which would be $38,000. And the question I have for you now is, what two things do all assets have? I may have mentioned this in class, and I will mention this sometime before the total 20 questions that we have on this review are over. So that's what I'm asking right now. What two things do all assets have? If they don't have these two things, then they're not an asset. But let's go on. Number 6. So if assets and owner's equity both decrease during the year by $45,000 and $25,000 respectively, how much did liabilities change during the year? Well, again, put our accounting equation up, plug in what we know. We know that assets went down $45,000. And now what we automatically know is that if the left side goes down $45,000, then the right side must also go down $45,000, and we'll plug in what we know about the right side, which is that owner's equity went down $25,000. Therefore, this side now has to equal a total of $45,000 decrease. So if you have $25,000 going down on owner's equity, then liabilities must have went down 20. Number 7. If assets are $60,000 and owner's equity is $40,000 at the beginning of the year, and liabilities and owner's equity both increase during the year by $35,000 and $50,000 respectively, what are assets at the end of the year? Well, this equation has to stay in balance at all times. Not some of the time, not most of the time, but all the time. Which means whether it's at the beginning of the year, whether it's at the middle of the year, or whether it's at the end of the year. So let's take a look. There's our accounting equation. And BB stands for the beginning balance, or let's say at the beginning of the year. So let's plug in the things that we know. And during the year, and then this third time frame would be at the end of the year, or at the ending balance. So beginning balance, during, and ending balance. And what we're looking for is what are assets at the end of the year, which would be down here. So let's plug in the things that we know. We know that the beginning balance of assets were $60,000 from the above, and we know that owner's equity at the beginning of the year was $40,000. Now, you may not have to do this, but let's just go ahead and do it anyway. If assets are 60 and owner's equity is 40 at the beginning of the year, then you know that liabilities should be, that's right, it should be 20,000. But we don't care about that directly. What we really care about is any balance of assets. So, liabilities and owner's equity both increased during the year by $35,000 and $50,000. So let's plug that in. Liabilities go up $35,000, owner's equity goes up $50,000. And now we want to know what are assets at the end of the year. So let's see if we can figure that out. There's lots of ways to get there, but let's see what I have on the slide. I show that during the year, assets must have gone up $85,000 because liabilities went up $35,000 and owner's equity went up $50,000. So these two together means that the left side, the asset side, went up $85,000. And so now the ending balance of assets would be the 60 plus the 85, or 145 is our answer. Let's take a look at number 8. Number 8, a company's balance sheet shows cash of $12,000, accounts receivable 16, office equipment of 50, and accounts payable of 17,000. What is the amount of owner's equity? Well, let's plug our accounting equation up here. And let's plug in the things that we know, and we know that cash is an asset of $12,000. We know that accounts receivable is a $16,000 asset. We know that office equipment is a $50,000 asset, and we know that accounts payable is a liability of $17,000. So all we have to do is add up all the assets, add up all the liabilities, compare the two, and the difference will be owner's equity. So let's do that. $78,000 is total assets, $17,000 is total liabilities, and so owner's equity, the amount we're looking for, is going to be $61,000. Let's look at number 9. Number 9, if liabilities are $30,000 and owner's equity is $10,000 at the beginning of the period, so let's do that. Beginning balance, during, end, and liabilities were 30, owner's equity is 10. Then we automatically know that assets are going to be the sum of these two, which is going to be, looks like 40,000, but let's go ahead and read the rest of the problem. And it says liabilities decrease by 15 and owner's equity decreases by 10. So then if you have all that, then what's ending assets? Well, let's do this. Let's fill out some more pieces of this. Like I said, if beginning liabilities are 30 and beginning owner's equity is 10, then you know the beginning assets are 40. And during the year, liabilities went down 15 and owner's equity went down 10. So therefore, during the year, assets must have went down by the sum of those two, which would be 25. And then the ending balance of assets would be 40 at the beginning minus 25, or the ending balance would be 15,000. And then number 10, our last question on this section of the review, it says if assets are 60 and liabilities are 40 at the beginning of the year, so let's do that. We've got assets are 60, liabilities are 40, and liabilities and owner's equity both increased during the year by 35 and 50, then what's ending owner's equity? Alright, so we know that the beginning balance of assets are 60, so therefore let's see, if the left side's 60, the right side's got to be 60, so therefore owner's equity is going to be 20. And during the year, liabilities went up 35 and owner's equity went up 50. And so what is the owner's equity at the end of the year? Well, it's going to be the 20 plus the 50, or it's going to be, we didn't even need to do that over here, but went and did it anyway. So ending balance of owner's equity should be 70. And that is the end of this section.